Hey everybody, I'm Possessed Pixie and welcome to Folklore Friday. So today is Friday, and for me and you, that means I'm gonna go over some type of folklore of some thing, whether that be a creature, just a tale, or in this case, today, some games. I also like to do my makeup at the same time just to give myself something to do and chill and vibe and make it fun. I also want to say Happy New Year. I'm posting this on the 2nd, and I hope you have some New Year's resolutions. I'm still mixing up my own, but if you have any, you should let me know what they are. And yeah, so for today's folklore video, we are going to be talking about 3 kind of scary games to be played in the dark. So what I'm going to do is essentially tell you some of the folklore behind the game and also share how to play the game. The scary games that we are talking about today are not your typical horror game. In fact, we are talking about real life games that may promise access to spirits, the other side, or knowledge of the mysterious. All of these games have some folklore associations and some spooky origins that we're going to get into. A lot of these games are considered like party games or ways to test your bravery. I think a lot of like kids and younger people play these games, and we usually learn about a lot of them as kids, but that doesn't mean kids should necessarily be the ones playing them. Despite this, these games can still be kind of dangerous because they are seeking access to some dangerous things we might not know a lot about. The 3 games I'm sharing today can be found online, but I recently found this book at Bull Moose, a little media store in Maine. It's called Dangerous Games to Play in the Dark. And this book offers a lot of information about 24 different games with the how to play and some of the folklore. This book is my main resource for this video and is what I'm using to share the information with you from. This video may just be a part 1 because I'm only sharing 3 out of 24 different games. So maybe stay tuned for like a part 2 or 3, who knows? But I want to start getting on into it. So it's time for a very quick PSA, a disclaimer, a warning. It is not recommended that you actually play these games. When we attempt to access these things we don't know much about and can be considered dangerous, there is usually some type of cost, or maybe even the entity you summon may not wish that the game actually ends. Or if you go somewhere, you may not be able to get back. If you choose to ignore this advice and play any of these games, whatever happens to you is on you. The author of this book, nor I, for sharing the information with you, will be held accountable for any scary, spooky, dangerous things that happen to you. Now, if you're as curious as I was since I bought the book and just want to learn about these games, let's get on into it. The first game we're going to be talking about is the fortune game. In many folkloric traditions, crossroads hold a relatively significant power or meaning. At face value, a crossroads is just the intersection between 2 roads or paths of some kind, but in folklore, They are seen as intersections between worlds. I'm blending with my finger today, mind your business. My cat chewed up my beauty blender. This may be the world of the Fae and the human world, the world of the dead or spirits, and the world of the living, and so on and so forth. The fortune game, also known as Suji-ura, or crossroad divination, must be played at an actual crossroads in order for it to work. This could be like where two streets in like an urban area meet, or two dirt paths, or whatever. You get the point. It has to be a physical, actual crossroads. And it doesn't matter particularly what kind of crossroads it is, because it is believed that all crossroads hold the same liminal power. Given that crossroads are believed to join our world with so many others, it is wise to be wary of strangers that you may encounter at one. There is absolutely no knowing where the stranger came from, and they may not have your best interest in mind. Moving on into how to play. Your first step is going to be to select your crossroads. Again, they can exist in any environment, whether that be urban, rural, suburban, whichever. But it is important to know that how the game unfolds may differ depending on the environment. So, the choice is yours. Now it's time to gather your supplies. You really only need 2 items, and that is a comb and something to cover your face. The options for your face covering are also pretty broad. It could be a veil, a book, a mask. Really, it could be anything, but the only requirement is that it has to be able to completely cover your face. This is a game that needs to be played at nighttime in the dark. So once it's nighttime and you have your supplies, you are ready to head to your crossroad. Once you're there, the first thing you must do is take out your comb and run your finger across the bristles 3 times. The idea is that you're trying to make that noise with it. After running your finger on your comb 3 times, you'll then repeat the following phrase 3 times. Suji-ura, Suji-ura, grant me a true response. So you'll repeat that 3 times. Now is the time to be patient. You're gonna have to wait. It will take its time for a stranger to show up, but it is important to remain alert and aware of your surroundings. And do not close your eyes. You can blink, but don't close your eyes. It's important to know that at this time, the ritual may fail. And you will know if it failed because a significant amount of time will have passed and no one has even approached the crossroads. Or if somebody did approach the crossroad, but you know them, whether they're like a family member or a friend, somebody who's not a stranger. It is okay if the ritual fails. It just means it's not your day. And if you so choose, you will be able to try this ritual another day. However, if a stranger does appear and you are 100% positive you have never seen this person before in your life, congrats. The ritual has succeeded, but it is time to act quickly. At the very moment you recognize the stranger as a stranger and they're approaching you, it's time to cover your face with your face covering and be prepared. Your face will need to be covered for a while, and you will not remove your face covering until the stranger is completely gone. Once the stranger has approached you, it is now the opportunity for you to do one of 2 things. You may ask them to tell you your fortune, or you can let them pass by. If you let them pass by, you can remove your face covering after they've left, and this means you will not have learned anything, but maybe that's for the best, and you are free to return home and try the ritual again on another day if you choose to do that. If you choose to ask them your fortune, do it politely. You are in no position to make any demands, and say please and thank you. If you're choosing to ask, be 100% certain that you are ready for an answer. Don't ask until you truly want to know and can handle the response. And remember to keep your face covering on. Now, the stranger may do one of three things. They may remain silent, they may decline to answer, or they may agree to answer. If they remain silent or decline, let them go and apologize to them for bothering them and thank them for their time. Keep your face covering on until they leave completely, and then you can choose to end the ritual, or you can choose to stay there and wait until another stranger comes along the crossroads to try again. If the stranger agrees, all you will have to do is listen very carefully. Make sure you hear everything they have to say. Do not interrupt them. Do not ask any further questions. And when they have finished speaking, thank them for their time and let them go. Once they have left, you can remove your face covering and go home. I wonder, what will you do with what you have learned? Some additional information for this game. It can be played with more than one player present, but only one person is actively playing the game. The rest are just bystanders and must remain silent and keep their faces covered as well. The stranger can only tell you information. You are the one who has to choose what to do with what you've learned. The next game is the picture game. The folklore of the picture game. The art of capturing a ghost in a photograph emerged as part of the spiritualist movement in the 19th century, and it is commonly still used today by modern day ghost hunters as a search for proof of spirits or ghosts. Initially, though, a spirit photograph was used by con artists who claimed to be able to show images of people's loved ones through in-camera tricks like double exposure. The picture game, which emerged somewhere in the 2010s, claims to trap spirits within a photograph. This game plays on a kind of initial fear that by taking somebody's photograph, you can steal their soul. And that a photo isn't just a static image, and what you see is something much more. Something that isn't quite alive, but isn't quite dead and may not even be human. There must be at least 2 players present, but there can be more. Select your playing space. The only requirements for your space is that it is dark and quiet. It's best to play this at night. No windows or windows that can easily be covered. Then you'll need to gather your supplies. Each player will need a small hand mirror. Then you'll need a string or rope that's big enough to make a circle around the entire group. Or not around, but that everybody can sit around it. A pair of scissors or a knife to later cut the rope. Some kind of camera with a flash, a drinking glass, and a beverage. It can be anything, but it works best if it's wine. Then you just have to wait around till midnight. At this point, all of the players and the supplies can enter the playing space. It's time to prepare the playing space by making sure all the windows are covered. Anywhere areas of light can seep into the room, can be covered or blocked, etc. Before turning off the lights, you need to tie the ends of your string or rope into a knot to make the circle and place it in the center of the room. Then place the drinking glass in the center of the circle and fill it with the beverage. Make sure the flash of the camera is on and then turn off the lights. All of the players will sit in a circle, evenly spaced around the outside of the string circle. Once all of the players are seated, each one will place their hand mirror on the floor in front of them, facing the ceiling, so the reflective side is facing up. Do not place it inside the string circle. Also have the camera nearby already, but again, do not put it inside the circle. Now everyone must close their eyes and hold hands of the person sitting next to them. Everybody must be making a circle with their hands. No broken links. Everybody must be holding hands. And if you don't do this, the game will not succeed. One by one, each player must declare their trust for the other players. Again, it must be done individually. This can't be done in unison. And the declaration of trust can be however short or long each player wishes it to be. Every single player must do this. After each player has done this, then in unison, the players must say, "The door has now been opened. Please come in." Open your eyes and unlink your hands. Now you can begin passing the camera around the circle. Pick up the camera and say, "I capture you," while pointing the camera at the player sitting opposite you in the circle. Take only one photo and pass the camera to your left. Do not preview the photos. Repeat this step until the camera has been passed around 3 times. So each person in the group has taken 3 photos total at a time. Not at a time, 1 photo at a time. Pass it around 3 times. After the final photo has been taken, place the camera on the ground and do not place it in the string circle. All the players will close their eyes again and link hands, and together, in unison, will repeat, "It is now time to go home," 3 times. Then you can unlink your hands and open your eyes. At this point, flip the mirror upside down so the reflective side is now facing the floor, and the player closest to the light switch will get up and go turn on the lights. Then the same player will take the scissors and cut the string or rope circle, and take the drinking glass out of the circle, take it outside, and dump the beverage into the dirt. If you need to develop your photos, now's the time. Go ahead and do that. If it's digital, you can just go ahead and look through them, but either way at this point, you can start looking through the photos. Look closely at each one. And the game ritual is over, and maybe you caught something spooky sitting in the circle between you and the person across from you. Just some additional information. It might be helpful to assign somebody the role of a guide. This way they can help with everybody speaking in unison, preparing the space, and performing the closing aspects of the ritual. So the turning on the lights, cutting of the rope, you get it. If during the passing of the camera, if any player begins to feel odd or behave oddly, do not allow them to take a photo. Skip them. If multiple players feel or behave oddly, do not continue the game. Put the camera down and do the closing aspects of the ritual. Then do not look at any of those photos and discard that camera. The final game we will be talking about today is called the corner game. This one is the highest level of risk. Some of the folklore on corners in this game. Corners are kind of notorious for being a little comfortable, cozy spot. Like, gonna nestle up in a corner, you know. Corners are predictable with their clean, angular lines, and they create an endpoint where the walls meet. They're a knowable point in space. Though we are not the only ones drawn to corners. Corners actually play a really strong role in folklore and superstition. In a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, the mischief-making duende likes to hang out in dark corners. There even used to be an old trick for restless sleepers, which involved naming each corner of the room and repeating the names slowly. Some even believe that the name of the corner you wake up facing will have the name of the person you will marry. Even for those who are religious, it is said that burying a Saint Benedict medal at the corners of your home keeps it safe from evil. The corner game arrived sometime in the early 2010s online through various Korean social media sites. The entity that comes along with the corner game has no clear connection with any folklore that was just mentioned, but it is extremely clear that the entity does not mean well. Choose your playing space. The room you choose must be a room with only 4 walls, a floor and a ceiling. It must have exactly 4 corners, no more, no less. Then you can choose your players. There must be 4 players, definitely no less. Of the 4 players, 1 must be the designated speaker. This is not the best game to play if you are in a hotel or live in an apartment building, because you need to clear the building of all people and pets who are not playing the game. Only those 4 players can be in the building, no one else. After that, you can turn off the lights in all the other rooms, halls, everywhere in the building, except for the playing space at this time. All 4 players will gather at the entrance to the playing space. Do not go inside yet. One at a time, each player will enter the room saying their name 3 times. Then, once they enter the room, you must remain silent. So one person goes, says their name 3 times, quiet, no more talking. So on and so forth. After all the players have completed this, close the door and turn off the lights. From this point on, from the crossing over, do not speak. The only person allowed to speak is the designated speaker, at least until the game ends or if there is an emergency. The only times. Each player can occupy a corner in the room at this point. They all must be facing the wall, the corner, and their backs towards the center of the room. All players must be in a corner, and there can only be 1 player in each corner, and no corners can be empty. Once in position, the speaker can now count to 3. Then, all players must silently move clockwise to the next corner. Do not turn around, keep facing the wall, and do not speak. After this, the speaker will count again, and the players will move clockwise to the next corner again. This will be repeated until all players have been at every corner. To end the game, the speaker will tell everyone to make their way to the light switch. Players do not turn around or speak. All players must move to the light switch while facing the wall and not speaking. When all the players have gathered at the light switch, everyone will put their hand on the light switch. Together, Then each player must speak their name backwards 3 times. Then turn on the light. And if every player is present, you can open that door and exit the room. If you get to this point, the game is complete. However, this step may only be completed if every player is present. It is possible that a player may disappear at any point in the game. If that happens, the group is now in the emergency situation. The speaker must announce that emergency measures must be taken. To do so, each remaining player must repeat their name backwards 3 times. Then you can turn and face the center of the room and pressing their backs completely against the wall. The player that's closest to the light switch at this point will turn off the lights. If these measures have been done successfully, the player who disappeared should have returned when the lights came back on. Also, so even before the lights go on, a player can go missing, and you'll know when you're attempting to do the closing ritual and everybody's hands are on the light switch and they don't repeat their name. So if the lights come back on and they're there, it's been successful, and then you can repeat the closing ritual. However, it is possible that an additional figure will show up who is not the player who went missing and is not any of the other players. Do not speak to it at all. The speaker of the group must indicate to complete the closing part of the ritual, and then all you can really do is cross your fingers and hope for the best. And then if you're able to exit the room after doing those closing ritual, do so and close the door behind you. Also, you may want to stay out of that room for a while, and then always turn the lights on before entering that same room. Some additional information: if a player happens to bump into another during the rotation process, turn the lights on ASAP and wait. After a few moments, turn the lights back off and start the rotation process over from the beginning. It may be wise to establish some signals between the group before the game begins to allow for some type of communication if need be. That can happen without speaking. And for the emergency measures, the emergency steps, if all those measures have been taken and the person who went missing does not reappear, you may no longer be able to complete the game. Do not let that happen. Okay, and that wraps up this video on 3 scary games to play in the dark. Again, these games came from this book, and I will probably do another part to share more of the games with you. And to reiterate my disclaimer from before, if you choose to play these games, that's on you, not me, not the author. You. Anything that happens to you is your own doing. I'm not telling you to play these games. You can if you want, if you're feeling brave, but it's not my fault. Just sharing. I'm just sharing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This is the look. This is my New Year's Eve look. The black kind of looks a little blue since I put the blue, but also kind of doesn't. And I love this black lip gloss. I look forward to seeing you in the new year and with more videos. If you like this video and like some of my other folklore videos, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I need it. Just kidding, but thank you for being here. I plan to post more. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, to post more. That's all for this video, and I'll see you soon. Have a happy New Year and be safe. Well, hopefully you were safe, because this is coming out after the fact. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye.